We are working with strong back, soft front, wild heart. And one of the reasons that we want to do this work is so that our lives change. So I thought we talked last week about doing this for 2 weeks in a row. I thought we could do something really focused this time and focus on a strong back and how that affects our decisions. And in particular, we're going to go into the inquiry in a few minutes around I can tolerate disappointing people. A couple months ago, I made a decision to retire from private one on one facilitating with people. It was a really hard decision to make for me. I really love the people that I work with. I really love the process of working individually with people. And for a bunch of different reasons, it's not really what I can do in my body anymore. Working with the different kinds of work, like this group and classes and that kind of thing, has a different rhythm in my life. So I'm able to get up and walk around. We can go for a walk and come back to it, that kind of thing. So it was a hard decision for me, and it was becoming really increasingly obvious that it was a decision I needed to make. And I tried to really work with this, even though we weren't actually doing this work at the time. I made that decision about 2 months ago, and I just finished at the end of May. But I know that by doing that, I was going to disappoint people. I know that the people that I was working with, I felt like I had really good resources for people. And so that was really important for me as well. And I know really deeply that everyone is okay. I really know that people can heal. When we have a soft heart, we really feel that. And that's good. And it's something that we need to do a practice around, and that we don't have to make the other person wrong. We don't have to make the situation wrong. We don't have to shame ourselves, that we can just move on. It's time. I just turned 70 a few months ago, and it's time to change the rhythm of my life, which is what I've been able to do with this decision. Let's go into the inquiry now. So, this reverse inquiry is when we say something, we'd like it to be true, and we know it's not completely. And the reverse of it isn't an affirmation, but it's a way to see what's unconsciously blocking us from that. And it's helpful to think of someone in specific. I can tolerate disappointing my friend, my sister, my boss, my parent, whoever that might be. And something in our body stiffens up, or we get a, yeah, well, what would happen though? Like, if I was to tell them the truth about this, and then what would happen? What would happen might be that we're not going to spend as much time together, or they're not going to be as close as they were. And we have all of these pulls, these attachments with our relationships. Sometimes it's financial, like I don't want to disappoint my boss. Oftentimes it's more social. So let's sit with that. Bring to mind someone really specific, or maybe it's a group of someone's, and let yourself feel that in your body. If you say to yourself, visualize the person or the people, I can tolerate disappointing this person. Notice the energy of that in your body. Maybe you stopped breathing as smoothly. Maybe you're holding your breath. So it's helpful then to tune into the breath, let the breath be smooth. We can help ourselves be grounded in this moment through working with our breath. We could look around the room, look at cues of safety. This is a really important time to stay regulated. Do some tapping, put the image in a frame, take our eyes around the empty space. All of these tools that we have and that we know, this is a somatic mindfulness inquiry. We can stay present. As you're looking at that image, or maybe it's that you're hearing sounds, maybe your mind is going off into some prediction. Well, if I tell them that I'm gay, I'm not going to be welcome at home anymore, or they're going to judge me, or my partner is not going to be welcome right now. They think we're just roommates, whatever that might be. Or maybe it's something else. It's something like I'm going to speak up when I hear them talking a certain way. I'm going to challenge that. One of the things we could acknowledge is that we have a lot of information about how most people will react. If in a certain circumstance, everybody that they come across with this particular thing going on, we know that they judge them, and it's very likely that they would judge us as well. We often have a pretty good ability to predict. But when we go into the predictions of it, then that's something that we could really pause and look at. So, how do I know? What's my evidence that they're going to react this way, that they're going to reject me, make fun of me, be cruel? Often it's very subtle. We're just not included anymore. And we could take each incident and see if your mind is bringing forward, well, yeah, you can't afford to say that because this is what's going to happen. Then take the prediction and pause and look at that. Is there an image? You could put it into a frame on the other side of the room. Look at the image. Let yourself really feel that in your gut, your heart. What's it going to be like for you if you say, I'm not going to go to medical school, I'm going to go to art school, I'm going to move to Alaska, whatever that might be for you that you have a pretty good sense that the other person's not going to like. Continue to notice your breath. Notice your feet, your seat. Stay in this moment, even as we're looking at this future scenario. Stay present to yourself here. And as you're working with the images and the words, come back into your body and notice what's the energy here. And is there a sense of, how do I know that it's not okay to do this? Is there some part of me that's alarmed? They're saying, no, if you do that, this is going to be a disaster. So you might have that image come up again. And so when we tap, we're just putting our two fingers on our forehead and lightly tapping. We're taking our attention into the sound and the sensation of the tapping, away from the image, the words. Some people really find that the tapping helps to bring them back to the present. Other people find putting the picture in a frame on the other side of the room, taking our eyes around the outside, is more helpful. You might hold your own hands. Whatever it is that helps you stay present in this moment, where you're not in the future where someone is disappointed in you, you're present right here. Now, how is it that you know, or who is it in there? What is it, some part of your younger self that's had that experience before that's going, that was devastating for me when I was a teenager and that happened. I can't afford to let this happen again. All of this is our true experience. And we know that our brain, our neuroception, our perception of safety takes all this negative energy and experience from the past, it predicts it into the future. So, something that was devastating when we were a teenager or a child or an earlier life adult isn't necessarily going to be the same now. That's good. We're just exploring, what is it that's holding us back? And then let's move into visualizing doing what it is that you're considering doing. So maybe you're going to set a kind of a boundary, maybe you've made a decision, where you're making a decision, you're going to tell someone about that. And let yourself really feel the strength. So if you're kind of slumped over a bit, sit up straighter, let your shoulders drop, take a few deeper breaths, and feel the strength. Feel your strong back, the vulnerability, the flexibility, your truth, your courage. We've all done really hard things. We don't do them 100% perfectly, and we don't do them all the time. Maybe it took us a while to get here. Visualize yourself doing that and saying that. So put yourself into the picture, feel it in your body. Hear yourself say those words. Even if your voice is a bit shaky or you're feeling really anxious, let yourself stand and say what it is you need to say. On the one hand, we have a cost for standing up for ourselves and not betraying ourselves, not going along. And on the other side of that, we have a huge benefit of authenticity, building a life that suits us better. And this might be something really major or something more subtle. Let's give it a couple of minutes to really ripen inside. Feel yourself with this strong back and how that allows the soft heart to be there. And then as we're coming towards the end of the inquiry, notice what your experience was. So for some people, this is really pretty easy. We have kind of a fierceness, maybe. It's like, no, I'm going to say it. I'm not going to back down. And it might be from a position of strength. It might be from a fight response, which isn't quite as healthy. But some people, it's really pretty easy to do this. Other people, it's a little bit harder. And notice in particular, I can tolerate that part. So it's not that we enjoy it. It's not that it's easy. It's not. But I can tolerate the feeling in my own body. I can tolerate whatever's going to come my way because I've set this boundary or because I've spoken up for myself. And we can find other people to support us. We can find ways to support and nurture ourselves. I can tolerate this feeling. Notice what that brings up. And then offer yourself some support, some comfort. Take a few deep breaths. I can tolerate disappointing people. That's at least true some of the time. And I can work on building that strength, that capacity.